I got so many requests for this one on my Jude Bellingham level athleticism video, and I can understand why. Pedri is a completely different type of footballer from Jude. Their size and stature obviously plays a significant role here, with Jude Bellingham standing at 6'1" and 186 pounds, compared to Pedri's 5'9", 150 pounds. But this does not mean that both of them are not incredible athletes in completely different ways. Pedri's lean and powerful physique allows for him to be incredibly explosive and agile, giving him the ability to dominate in tight spaces anywhere on the pitch. His fitness allows for him to not only be one of the most involved players in the game, but also never lose his quality of touches and decision making. And his efficient movement, especially during moments like this, allow for him to move more fluidly and efficiently in the midfield. Whether that is to put his body in the perfect position to accept a pass and keep the pace of play going, or if it is to do some crazy dribble that leaves his opponent in the dust. And while his technical ability is obviously off the charts, and there are real fitness and performance aspects about this that need to be trained. And I have helped countless of footballers all across the globe train these things and make improvements on all three at the same time, just like my athletes there. And I'm going to teach you how to do exactly the same so that you can become a better footballer today. Now, Arsene Wenger was quoted once saying this about Pedri: "He moves like a feather on the field and paints a beautiful picture." And no surprise, Wenger is spot on here. Whenever a player finds himself in the middle of the pitch, no matter what position you're playing, the options are pretty much endless. And a player like Pedri needs to be efficient going in every single different direction. And one of the most consistent ones for him and any footballer that finds himself in the middle of the pitch is this lateral movement. The ability to shift side to side to get open to receive a pass, to anticipate a move from the opposition and disturb their rhythm, to explode and quickly break the lines. All of this can be trained through the three main types of lateral agility plyometrics. Now, many of you have heard these before, but I'm going to get into how you can take these to a whole different level. I'm not just going to sit here and say, do 3 sets of 8 of each of these and you'll be fine. We want pro results. We need to train just like the pros do. So the three main types of lateral plyometric agility exercises are lateral bounds, crossover bounds, and lateral hops. And the way that we can actually manipulate these and take these exercises that a lot of footballers maybe do and make them even better is by understanding momentum and ground contacts. Because so many times on the pitch, let's say you're sprinting to the left at 100% of your max speed, you then need to put your foot into the ground and quickly redirect yourself to the right. The amount of force that it takes when you put your foot into the ground to redirect yourself during that moment is insane, and something that a regular lateral bound just isn't going to replicate. But how can we take that same lateral bound and make it even closer to the amount of force that you need to redirect yourself on the pitch? And the answer to that lies within repeat ground contacts, and here's what I mean. So first things first, lateral bounds and crossover bounds are going to be easier than lateral hops, so if this is your first time doing these, make sure to start with those two. Then what you may do is week 1, you will do lateral bounds just side to side, going anywhere between 2 to 4 sets for 10 to 15 reps on each side. But then weeks 2 to 3, you might do double lateral bounds. And here's why this matters. Let's just talk about it in terms of speed. Let's say that during a regular lateral bound, you only hit a top speed of 3 miles per hour before you hit the ground and need to redirect your force the other way. But if you do 2, you're giving yourself more time and more ground contacts to start to pick up speed. So let's say if you do the double lateral bound to one side, then you might actually hit 6 miles per hour. Then your body needs to work on decelerating, absorbing that force and redirecting it at a faster speed. So then weeks 3 and 4, when you go into triple lateral bounds, who knows, you're going to hit even higher speeds, and so on until eventually you're hitting very, very close, if not the exact same speeds that you'll be hitting on the pitch. You can do this exact same thing with a crossover bound to a lateral bound, and you can do this exact same thing with repeat lateral hops if you're a bit more advanced. If you want to get on the coach's good side, having elite fitness and conditioning is one of the best ways, if not the best way to do it. I mean, we got guys like Flick who will not stop raving about Pedri's conditioning and fitness. Flick has been quoted multiple times talking about how Pedri is just everywhere on the pitch.
I also really surprised about that, but it's he's 100% fit and it's very good to see what he's doing with the ball, but also without, against the ball. It's really unbelievable. And I think it's the right position he played at the moment, and I think for me on this position he's the best best in the world.
And rightfully so. When Barca played Newcastle in the Champions League, Flick praised Pedri's impressive work rate and influence on the team due to the fact that he had the most touches and passes of any player on the pitch. And you do not get that without working your ass off, without constantly moving and staying mentally sharp enough so that you can see the space and analyze the game. And that is exactly what good fitness work can do for you, just like it did for my athlete right here. So here's what we need to do. So often what can happen in a match is the game starts out really hot, you sprint a ton at really high speeds, and you gas out very early, maybe 10 minutes in. And that makes the rest of the match, the remaining 80 minutes, absolute hell. But what if I told you there was a specific way that we could do fitness and conditioning drills to train yourself for this? Because there's something called hard start interval sprints that we can do that make sure that your body stays fresh and energetic even after high bursts and high frequencies of sprints. And the idea is that the first part of your sprint is actually going to be the most difficult part to do. So here's what you're going to do. We can do this either with time or with distance. In this video, I'm going to focus on the time example, but if you guys want to see an example with distance, make sure to like the video, make sure to comment below that you want to see it, and I'll make sure to make another one. So let's take a 400-meter sprint example. You're going to run your first 400 meters as fast as you possibly can. You will then rest for however long it takes you to run that 400 meters. Then you will take that fastest time and add on somewhere between 3 to 10 seconds. Whichever amount you choose is how much you will add on after every single round. Now, obviously, if you're going to increase it by 3 seconds, that will be more difficult than if you increase it by 10. So choose based on your fitness level and recoverability. So here's an example. Let's say you ran that first 400 meters in 90 seconds. You will then rest 90 seconds, and you will have 93 to 100 seconds to complete the next 400 based on if you chose 3 seconds or 10 seconds to add on. Then rest again for 90 seconds. Then you will have 96 to 110 seconds to complete the next 400. You will repeat this until you hit 1.5 times the amount it took you to run your first interval, or until you fail to hit your time. So since you ran that first interval in 90 seconds or 1.5 minutes, you will take the 90 seconds, you will multiply it by 1.5, and you'll get 135 seconds or 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Then you will rest anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes, and you will have the option to then repeat starting back at step 1, finding a new fastest 400 meter time, or you can cut the session at 1 round. But you will stop this entire session once you hit an absolute maximum of 6 miles. You will want to do way less than this if you are in preseason or in season, or even if you just have a really difficult off-season training schedule. Then you will maybe look at more of a 3 mile max, or you may just want to do 1 round and call it there. How often does Pedri find himself in crazy positions like this as he's running through the opposition's defense? And what if I told you that as a footballer, there are exercises that aren't fatiguing that can help you move faster, more efficient, and be more fluid on the pitch like Pedri? You would probably say that that's too good to be true, and I understand why. But the thing is, it's not, and I will explain. Because when it comes to moving more fluidly, like my athlete here on the pitch, sensory exercises are king, and here's what those are. The goal of sensory exercises is literally just to train the body to move in a different way. We actually want to focus on sensations and awareness so that when the body learns how to move a certain way during these easier, more simple exercises, then it just naturally moves like that during our faster, our heavier, and our more difficult exercises. And one of the main movements that I teach every single footballer that I work with to do when it comes to sensory exercises is lateral pelvic tilts. A lateral pelvic tilt comes up so often for footballers. We can see it here during this dribbling sequence, we can see it here during this top speed sprint, and we can see it here during the vertical jump. And when training sensory exercises, here are some things that you need to make sure that you do right to get the most out of them. Number 1, we want to focus on exercises where we need to fight gravity as little as possible. This may sound confusing, but I'll explain. For this exercise, for example, we want to start off laying on the ground on our side, doing side-lying lateral pelvic tilts. You can do this exercise at home, on a couch, or you can do this with your foot just flat to the ground on some hardwood with maybe a sock or some type of towel to make it easy to slide back and forth. And you want to start here because during this exercise, your body is supported by the ground. You aren't pulling it directly up, you are actually moving it side to side due to the position that you're in, so it requires less strength. I know what you're thinking, it's such a small range of motion and it looks like such a simple exercise, who cares how much strength I really need? But if you are someone who has never done this before, or even if you are, this is just a good reminder and a good place to start so that you can really make sure that you are feeling these very small, these very delicate and specific ranges of motion. Next, you're going to want to go into half kneeling, and there's something something very important about this one. Again, we're still supported by the ground because we're kneeling and that knee is flat to the ground, but now we are pulling our hips up and down as we do this, so it requires a little bit more strength. And while this is a small range of motion and nobody's going to be able to pull their hip up and down like 10 to 12 inches, what we do need to do if you feel like you aren't moving your hips at all as you're doing it is elevate that back knee. You can either elevate that back knee with some yoga blocks if you're at the gym or at home, or you could use some pillows, whatever you need, but by doing that, you're decreasing the amount of hip flexion that is required to do the movement, and it's just going to clear more room for your pelvis to move. Then as you become more mobile, you can actually start to get your knee closer to the ground. Lastly, you will want to do a split squat variation. This is just like the half kneeling one, except now you are actually not supported by the ground nearly as much, so it's going to require even more strength. When you are first starting out, make sure to start higher up into the split squat with less knee bend, and then as you get better at this, as you get stronger, get lower and lower into that split squat. Then eventually you will just start to do these things during your strength exercises, and it will happen naturally during your plyometrics and your sprints. The one thing that I need you to know is do not try and focus so much on sensations when you are doing high force output exercises. Like, don't try and do a hip hike as you're trying to do a really heavy bilateral squat, for example. This is for warm-ups, this is for sensory work, and at the most difficult, it is for tertiary strength work. I hope that this was helpful, everyone. Make sure to comment below if you want to see me do a video just like this on a different player. Whichever player gets the most comments below is the one I will do a video next on. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.